This is part 4 of my absolute monster video regarding toxic friendships and mental abuse. Throughout the video I am talking about specifically one friend, or should I say ex-friend, who I refer to as Jane, as well as another friend of mine who also knew Jane, who I refer to as Shannon, and how this person affected both of us and all that lot. All the parts of the video are in, the links will be in the description below, as well as all of them will be in the my Revival Vlogs playlist, and I will probably make a specific playlist for this video series as well. So here is the rest of the video, and I will probably I'll just continue where I left off last time. That's not the only thing she made it seem like it was a competition in. Actually in January. It was actually in January, or it might have been February. I can't it was this year. Basically what had happened is something had happened to Shannon, something really bad, and okay, actually I've already mentioned it in a previous video, but basically she attempted suicide and it was really bad, and she was really lucky to survive. Like, even the doctors said that it was almost a miracle that she survived. None of us know how it happened, but the only sign that it happened is she got a scar on her chin, and that's the only sign that it happened. And we literally met with Jane, like, I think it was like a week after it happened, like after she got let out of the hospital. Like, to be fair, she got let out of the hospital like the day after it happened, so but we met with her like a week after she'd got let out of the hospital, and Jane made it seem like a competition in like sort of like mental health and depression and like suicidal thoughts and tendencies and things like that, when she's never attempted herself. Like, she's self-harmed, but she's never attempted suicide or anything like that. And she said something, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said something about jumping off of something, and that made me and Shannon feel really awkward, because she'd literally just attempted suicide like a week before, and she didn't seem any care in it at all. Like, oh sorry, she'd actually told her that it happened, and she didn't show me the she did show me the conversation, but Jane just didn't seem supportive at all. She asked if she was okay and if she's feeling better and things like that, but she wasn't like, oh, is there anything I can do to help? Do you want to meet up? Do you want to like watch a movie or something like that? Do you want to go out for lunch or anything like that? She just didn't do any of that. She just didn't feel supportive, and she didn't feel supportive when I had something I needed to talk to her about, or if I had a problem. It's just small things like that that make you feel like someone doesn't care. Like, if she's like, oh, I've had a bad day, or oh, I feel shit, we'd always ask, oh, how are you, or what happened, and we'd like try and be supportive, and, you know, ask if there's anything we could do. And just with Jane, she just didn't feel like it was reciprocated in that. It was kind of like just that it was always felt one-sided, and it was just small things like that that really play on your mind. It like makes you think, oh, she doesn't care, she doesn't care about us and things like that. And I mean, initially it didn't really occur to us, but then after it happens so many times, you do start to think about it, and you do start to realise that actually, yeah, this isn't a good thing to be in. Like, this relationship is really toxic. And I mean, one thing that helped me realise that the relationship was toxic was actually a post on Avon, and also my group therapy sessions. The woman that I spoke to in, like, because we had a follow-up session about like 9 weeks later, talking to her, she was like, yeah, that relationship's too toxic, you got to get out there as soon as possible, and things like that. And it did get to the point where, as well as I kind of thought, well, this is literally just like a friendship I had in school, where I won't go into too many details on that, it was a really long time ago, but basically we'd pretty much have an argument almost every day, maybe like, or at least, it would definitely have one at least once a week, and then like literally like an hour or two later, everything's fine, you know, we're best friends again. And I didn't want that anymore, and like I haven't spoken to that person for I think over a year now. I mean, I met up with some mutual friends a few weeks ago, and one of them did pass a message on from her saying, oh, hi, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. But yeah, I haven't spoken to her properly in like over a year now, but with Jane, I haven't spoken to her for like 2 months, but it was did get to that point where I realised that, yeah, this is a toxic friendship. It's not doing any help with me, because during that time, my anxiety and my kind of depression, it did kind of get worse as well. But there are some other things that I want to mention as well. For example, when I went up to, when she was in uni in London, and I was here in my hometown, well, it's not really a town, it's a city, but I stayed at home going to uni because, one, it was closer, two, I'd save money, and it kind of did everything that I wanted to do. And even if I went to another closer uni, I still would have stayed at home, and I just would have got the train there every day. Like, another friend is actually going to that other uni, but it got to kind of the point with her that she kind of guilt-tripped me into going up to see her every month for a weekend. And when I say like guilt-tripped me, it kind of got to the point where she'd be like, oh, I have no friends, I'm so lonely. And then I said, it kind of makes me think now whether she kind of manipulated me into saying it by saying that. And I said, oh, I can come up at least one weekend a month if you want. And like naturally she was like, oh yeah, that would be great. Because as well, she also we kind of got into the habit of talking on FaceTime every Friday and Saturday. And on one occasion she did, I think it was a Saturday, me and my mum and her partner had gone out for dinner. And I told her we'd gone out for dinner, because it's another thing, I had to pre-warn her like at least a couple of days in advance, or she'd get really pissy and manipulative, and she'd like cause arguments and things like that. But in this case, I told her we were going out for dinner. I said I didn't know when we were going to be coming home. So, and it got to about like 8:30, something like that. And she started sending me some really sort of arsey messages. And she was like, oh, when are you coming back? And she was like, you didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. And she's just getting really arsey about it. And started kind of being really, not really abusive, but kind of really mean. And she's like really mean a lot of the time. And that's happened with the FaceTime conversations as well. Sorry, I've just realised that my mind is going all over the place, so I've got so many different things, but with the FaceTime conversations, especially on Fridays, we'd always usually have an argument, and because it's over FaceTime, it's even worse, because I can't plan what I'm going to say, and she'll just scream and say really horrible things, to the point where it got to the point where I actually broke down on camera. And my mum, she wasn't paying attention, she was in the other room, but she heard me break down, and she actually came to talk to me, and she was she like was like comforting me and all that lot. And I don't know why I didn't stop talking to her then, but for some reason I didn't, and you know, I've carried on talking to her for like another year or two. But with London, she kind of like sort of convinced me to go up at least one weekend a month, and then I think it was in the winter she kind of manipulated me to going up for a whole week. Well, actually I went up for a whole week twice, actually, one in Easter and one in the winter in the first year. And I mean, it was great at first. Like, I mean, the first week I went up there, it was alright. I thought I had my cat. It was pretty good. The second week, I got halfway through the week, and I just wanted to go home. It was awful. Like, she's really clingy. She kind of would sort of, I would, like, if we were watching something, because she'd use her tablet or her iPad all the time, and she would, like, kind of force me to sit, like, really close to her, and, like, she'd, like, keep her arm around me, and if I wanted to move away because I was uncomfortable, or, you know, or anything like that, she would always be all like, and, like, sort of just small little things that sort of make me feel bad about moving away, and so I'd kind of have to, like, stay there and just awkwardly be like, but yet, if she wanted to move away because she was uncomfortable, she was getting hot, it was perfectly okay. I was just like, oh, okay. And then, like, at times when, I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna like go over here. I would be like, oh, I'm gonna get my graphic novel or something like that, and she'd be like, she was like, oh, okay, you go on then, kind of thing. It's like, you clearly don't want to sit with me, and okay, there's another thing as well. It's like, oh, you clearly hate me and things like that, and that she would say a lot to me and Shannon. And and goodbye, smiley face, and you clearly won't like it, smiley face, the smiley faces, and ... That's another common thing she would used to do that really used to just, you know, just play on the mind and really tick us off. And it's also kind of become an in-joke with us now. We'd be like, to each other, just send us little smiley faces just to be, and then we'll just laugh because, you know, we've kind of got out of something and now we can, you know, we can have fun, we can be ourselves, we don't have to hide anymore.